Hey, make sure you watch the video all the way through, so I'm going to be able to tell you which shoe is the right one for your foot. Hey, I'm Nick Andrade. I'm a personal trainer, and my goal is to show you how to go through movement and to be as efficient as possible so you get the most out of it. Before we jump into the video about feet, I know it's gross, I'm talking about feet. I never thought I'd be talking about feet because I remember growing up looking at feet, it grossed me out. Now here I am talking about feet and telling you what we need to be doing about fixing your feet. So think about those people in your life that are close to you, and if you know if they have any knee problem, lower back problems, feet issues, and they have trouble walking, then this video is going to definitely help them, only if you give that to them. If not, at least send them this video so I could be on camera, obviously, showing them a way how to treat their feet. Because, true story, my grandma had surgery on her feet because of her not doing anything to her feet, and I wish I knew what I know now back then so I could prevent that. But you know, things happen for a reason, so here I am. Hopefully I'll be able to help each and every one of you with something like this that we're about to go over. So did you know that the feet has 33 joints, 26 layers, 26 bones and 4 layers of muscle? That's a lot. That's a lot going on in your feet, and a lot of the times that we don't even do anything about our feet. A lot of people go to the gym, work out all their body parts, but they forget one thing: their feet. Your feet are your foundation. So if you're not doing anything with your feet, you're going to start experiencing a lot of problems later down in life. So I want to help you prevent that. So the first thing we're going to jump into is an ankle assessment. Yes, an ankle assessment, and we got a hip assessment, and I want to walk you through these two, and then we're going to get into how to work on the feet. And these are going to be things you're going to have to do at least 3 times out of the week, or every day. The more you do it, the more you're going to get out of it. So let's just jump right into the ankle assessment. And if you have a tape measure, great, that would be come in handy because we need one for this. This is the ankle assessment, so if you recommend you grab one. So we're going to do 5 inches. Remember that 5 inches away from the wall. Make sure your wall at home doesn't have a backboard. So we want to make sure that we measure it from 5 inches from the wall. So this is going to be 5 inches. So here's 5 inches. I'm going to put my big toe behind this. So there we are. Yes, try not to look at my feet. I know, they're gross, right? Okay, so from here you want to make sure that our feet does not collapse in, or my heel doesn't come off the ground when we do this. You want to make sure we drive our knee over our big toe while the foot is staying flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to drive our knee and touch the wall while the foot is staying centered. It's stabilized. So I'm going to drive my knee over my foot as far as I could go, and when I feel that tension, I'm going to stop. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm about probably a ½ inch away from the wall, which is really good, but I could do a lot better. So that's telling me ankle mobility is subpar, and maybe something else is going on. Maybe my hips aren't the best. So this is ankle, and this is how we test your ankle mobility. So if ankle mobility you get right here and you're stuck, then we got to do things for your feet, starting from your ankles. Yes, ankles are important. So that's your ankle assessment. Make sure that you do use your tape measure. And we're going to jump right into our hip assessment. So when we're looking at hip assessment, there's one we could do from taking a seat, which when we take a seat, want to make sure this is a hip assessment. So if you want to back up, there you go. So when we do this one, we're going to externally rotate our foot out, but we're testing internal rotation of the hip. So I'm going to pick my foot up just slightly off the ground, but making sure my quad is still in line with my hip, and I'm going to try to externally rotate my foot out. So this is just going to tell us what our hips look like. So I test that one, then test the other one. So right away I got that my left was range of motion was poor than my right. My right was better than my left. So that's internal rotation of the hips. And then right from there, we're gonna do another assessment. This is one where you're laying down. This is gonna test external rotation of the hip. So I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna put my right foot above my knee, and I'm gonna lay down. So then once you're laying down, make sure you relax. So this is me relaxed. So this is external rotation of the hip. I'm very good. I should be two fists above my knee, and which I am. If anything's hard right here, if this is where your leg is getting stuck, then that means external rotation of the hip needs to be worked on. And there's a stretch we could do for that too. So for me, for my body specifically, hips internal rotation is poorer than my hips being externally rotated out. That made sense. So let's just go right into the stretches for our hips, and then I'm gonna show you the feet stuff we could do. So this one's called 90-90 stretch, which is, again, you wanna make sure my quad is in line with my hip. And there's 3 different points. I like to say knee is A, between knee and ankle is B, and my foot is C. So when you get in this position, try sitting up in this position, and if it feels awkward, like you're gonna fall that way, that means your hips need work. So if you can't sit up like this, it's okay. Plant whatever side you're sitting on, put your arm right next to you and sit tall. So make sure you prevent rounding your back, stay neutral. And I'm gonna aim my belly button at knee for the knee, and then when I go to the between knee and ankle, and then I'm gonna go to my foot. But I'm staying tall, so I'm gonna try to reach, because reach allows me to see if I'm improving. So I'm gonna point my belly button here, and I'm gonna go down. And as I go down, I'm gonna press my leg into the ground as I'm going down. And then as I go back up, I'm pressing my leg into the ground to get up. So that allows me not to use my lower back to get myself up. So now, same thing, going in the middle. Just back and forth, and you could do 10, 12 repetitions of this and then switch sides. One time through though is 1 rep. So I'm going, make sure my belly button's pointing over my foot. I'm pushing through my feet, my leg. And then you switch sides. And then there's another one you could do is try to bring your foot in front of you without touching the ground and put it back. This one's tough too, but this is hip stretch. So that's hip stretches, which is super important. Now make sure if you sit throughout the day, let's say you have a desk job and you sit like 5 to 8 hours out the day, you want to make sure that you're stretching your hips at least match that time. So if you're sitting for 5 hours, you're going to stretch each side for 5 minutes each. So that's super important, and you want to make sure you do that. That's going to allow you to get in a deeper squat. And before we get into how we could fix our feet, I want to talk to you about, I'm having a brain fart right now. Walking. Walking is, people get that really messed up, and this is where a lot of problems happen. You could actually mobilize your hips by walking properly, but before we get into that, I'm gonna teach you what you should be feeling when you walk. So I want you to get in a half kneeling position, and we're stretching right here. So all you're gonna do for me is put your hand on your butt cheek and flex your butt and relax, flex your butt and relax. This is what you should feel when you're walking. Now the reason being is because a lot of people only walk with ankle extension and knee extension. They forget about hip. So when we're walking, we want to make sure when we take a step that our thigh is going behind our hip. So you actually can mobilize your hips when you're walking right. So a lot of people only walk like this. They only have ankle and knee extension. They aren't getting their hip involved. And that's where a lot of problems happen. So you could mobilize your hips by just walking properly. So that's really important there. And now let's just jump right into what we could do with our feet. All right, Rach, is this a good angle right here?
For what?
for filming, like if I sat right here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, there's four, or I'm not even gonna say that right now, but we're just gonna go right into the feet. So the first one is, you wanna make sure you could sit on the couch doing this, watching TV, whatever. You just wanna make sure you're consistent with this, because this is gonna allow you to be, healthy long term when it comes to the lower body, when it comes to walking, because everything, again, think of your feet as the foundation of your house, as your body is the house. If your feet go, everything else is going to go. So this is super important. You could do this anywhere, and it's about being consistent with it, just like anything you do. So we're going to do our feet. I know it's gross, you got to touch your feet, and the reason why your feet stink is because they're entrapped in a closed environment all the time. So this first one is going to be, we're going to try to just wake up our toes. I'm just going to go clockwise and counterclockwise. So I'm going to grab, getting nice close into my feet. Nice. We're going to grab my big toe in the middle and the toe next to it. I'm going to go clockwise for at least 5 times. Be nice and easy. You might feel things getting woken up, and that's okay. You might hear cracks. That's fine. You're going to go clockwise for at least 5 times, and then go counterclockwise 5 times. And then I'm going to move on to my last 3. Same thing, clockwise, get them woken up. Yes, they haven't done anything this whole time. And then we're going to go counterclockwise 5 times. And then after you do that, we're going to do the toe spreader. This one's going to be uncomfortable, and if you have fat fingers, I'm sorry, you just have fat fingers and it's going to just suck even more. But the toe spreader is, you want to interlace your fingers with your toes. Nasty. And the goal is to be able to make a fist with it. In the beginning, you're not going to be able to. It's going to feel really uncomfortable, but that's okay. That's normal. Your feet are waking up. Like I said, there's a lot going on with your feet. So right now, I'm going to go clockwise again. Clockwise 5 times, 10 times, whatever you want to do. The more the better. And then we're going to go counterclockwise again. And then after you do that, then try to spread them out with your fingers. Try to literally spread them out. This is super good for them. You're waking them up, and they haven't done any of this in a long time. So this is super beneficial. Again, you could do this anywhere. You could do this while you're at the friend's house, having a drink. You might freak them out a little bit, but hey, tell them the benefits out of it. So this is this toe spreader. So after this one, I'm gonna have to go get it. It's I got a lacrosse ball. I actually didn't bring it down here. I got it up in my bag. But before I talk to you about that one, let's talk about the squat and how important the squat is with your feet. Your feet, again, you want to make sure that you form tripod foot. Tripod foot means there's equally amount of weight on each 3 different points on the foot. So tripod foot, we want to make sure that we have 50% of weight here, and we want to make sure we have 50% of weight right here, and then we have 50% on the heel. So now when we're standing up, we want to make sure your feet are super glued to the floor. They should never leave the floor when you're doing a squat. So now when my feet are glued to the floor, I want you to bend your knees and push your knees out. Try not to grab the floor with your toes, but push your knees out and your feet are still flat. Now I'm able to create an arch with my foot. If you said you could never, if you were born with no arch, that's BS. Everybody has an arch, and this is how you can create one. So relax. Again, spread the floor, push your knees out, and relax. And then if you want to feel your glutes and your hips, if you never felt those before, you're gonna bend your knees, drive your knees out, and stand tall, and squeeze your glutes. Relax and do that again. It might feel really good. You could do this 10 repetitions. This is super important because a lot of people, especially in the gym, when it comes to squatting, we just squat. We don't think about how important feet placement is and about spreading the floor on the way up. So we want to make sure knees are always tracking in line with our feet. So when I'm squatting, you should be able to do a squat. If you can't do a squat or a bodyweight squat, then we gotta work on the hips and our ankle mobility. So hands out, try to squat, drive the knees forward, and So my knees are staying in line with my feet when I squat. And when I go up, they're staying in line. Right? A lot of people when they're squatting, you see this collapse knee, collapse foot, which allows them to work a little bit harder. So tripod foot is gonna help you break that. So that's super important when it comes to squatting. And my gym bros, if you wanna put more gains on the chicken thighs, you better learn how to do a tripod foot. But we're gonna do one more thing, and then I'm gonna tell you about the shoes, which shoe is the right one and which shoe is the wrong one. And hopefully you leave a comment below, tell me which shoe is the right one, what you think. So I want to hear, hey, if you're liking the video so far, make sure you do leave a thumbs up, you comment, and make sure you turn on notifications. So because I'm gonna be dropping videos just like this one weekly, so it's gonna be able to help you with your fitness and your health, overall health journey. I want to make sure that you are getting the most out of my videos, because your time is valuable, my time is valuable. So I want to make sure when I put a video out, you're gonna get something from it, just like this one. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab the massage ball because my ass totally forgot to grab the ball. So I'm gonna grab it real quick. All right, cool. Hey, I went and grabbed my ball. So guys, this is a lacrosse ball you can get on Amazon for like $5. Super important for what we're gonna use it for. We're gonna massage our foot. There's 3 different points that we're gonna do on the foot. And this is, again, you could do this just chilling at the house, and you gotta do it standing up. So make sure maybe you have something on TV while you're doing this, because you do gotta do this for 2 minutes each side. So we're gonna work inside of the foot, we're gonna work outside of the foot, and we're gonna work the balls of our toes. And all of that points require 2 minutes each. So we're gonna start inside of the foot, and make sure when you're doing this, maybe stand by something, because you got to put some pressure on this. It's gonna be a little uncomfortable. Again, your feet are waking up from being asleep for a long time. So I have actually a funny story. I met with a client, and he had plantar fasciitis on both feet. And before I met with him, before I actually did something with him, he was telling me he went to a doctor, and the doctor prescribed it on medication, and he told him, hey, this is what you need to go get. He told him to go get some inserts at a store to provide more cushion in his feet. So maybe hint that it's going towards the shoes. But all right, let's go into the massages. We're gonna start on inside the foot. So I'm gonna place this inside the foot. Again, when we're doing this, you wanna make sure we don't go up to the heel. We're gonna stay right here and all the way up to the balls of the toes, okay? We're gonna do inside first. So here and up and down, 2 minutes, that's it, that's all you need. And it's gonna be uncomfortable. Make sure you apply enough pressure where it's bearable for 2 minutes. You don't wanna apply pressure where it's hurting, where you're feeling like you're suffering. I don't want that, but at least where it's uncomfortable, that's good. So inside of the foot, 2 minutes. And then after you do that, we're gonna work the outside. So the outside's a little bit harder. So again, make sure you're leaning on something, probably pressure. The outside's harder. And just go back and forth on the outside. 2 minutes on this one too. And then now we're gonna work on balls or toes or feet. Make sure the heel stays planted on the ground the whole time. And I'm gonna fan my feet out the whole time. Here, back and forth. I know you gotta look at my gross feet. Back and forth, just like this. Wake those feet up. And hey, so that was the 3 different points with the massage ball. One more thing before we get into the shoes. If your toes are already adducting towards the other toes, we could prevent that from happening. And it's just, yes, doing this and doing all the other things I showed you, but you could also do this too. So you could be sitting down doing this. Just make sure, let's say my toe's going this way. You can prevent that all by holding it here and just pressing down on the floor, or just go back and forth. Just go back and forth with it. Just make sure you're trying to get it center, right? Trying to get it center. Bunions, what my grandma had, was like this is shooting out. You could get that if you don't do anything. So we could prevent that though, like this. And see what kind of motor unit you guys have. Could you pick up your toes like this and keep this toes flat? What I'm working on, because yes, this is all new to me too. I've been working on this not even a year. Is what's hard for me is being able to lift up my big toe and keeping all my other toes down. So try that, see what's easier. I could do this, but I can't lift up my big toe. I'm struggling. And if your toe is, again, when you're working on it, try lifting up your toes back and forth. This is dorsiflexion. Back and forth. See what your toes are doing. When you lift them up, are they going all that way? If they are, then you just got to keep doing this more. Okay, that's it. That's it for all that. So let's just, I know you came to the video to see what shoes are the best for your feet, and I hope you don't go out and buy another pair of shoes before you watch this. So make sure. We're gonna go right into it. I know I'm a big shoe guy, and I don't even wear half my shoes that I got because of this. It makes me sad. All right, hate to break it to you, but which one of these shoes do you think are better for your feet? Well, hopefully you make a decision right now, because I'm gonna tell you right now. The shoe right now is better for your foot. Reason being is because it's flat. It's a flat shoe, right? There's no excessive lift in the arch. Everything's flat. The reason being is because we want to have the foot to be as close to barefoot as possible, because your feet are awake. They're doing what they're supposed to do. You want that. So I always hear this all the time, is my feet hurt when I stand for a long period of time. That's because your feet are trying to wake up. They're trying to do something for the first time in their life since you were a baby. So this actually is the best for you. If your feet hurt when you're wearing flat shoes, that's okay. Your feet are going to adapt. Your feet adapt to whatever you put them in. So when it comes to these, for lifting specifically, for walking around, standing, these shoes aren't good for your feet, because there's like a 1/2 inch lift on the heel, like a cushion, like a cloud, and it goes down to more of a flat, like narrower toe point shoe. So that's what it's going to do. It's just going to bunch your toes all up, and that's not good. What I was just telling you about, that's your, let's say you're doing all these foot drills and all of a sudden you go back right into these, you're going to be working twice as hard to get your feet where you want it to be. So I know, yes, these shoes are cool and everything, but long term they're not the best for your feet. If you're going to wear something like this, you could wear them running, that's fine, but that's it. No more than that. Just running them. You can possibly wear them here and there, but I recommend, again, getting a flat shoe, a flatter shoe, a wider shoe, based on your foot, how your foot is. A more flexible shoe, right? The flatter, again, the wider, the flexible, the better for your foot. Again, I hope I didn't break any of your hearts. And comment below, what do you think, if you're totally mind blown. But yeah, flat shoes all the way, and buy shoes based on how your foot is. If you have a wide ass foot, you're probably not going to do good with a narrow shoe. So there's wide shoes out there. So again, we're trying to prevent any health issues later down in life. So this is, again, flat shoes, the better. We're just going to end the video right there. Hey, make sure you leave a comment, like, and I appreciate you staying, watching the video, and I hope you got a lot of value out of this video, because I know when I took this class and going through it, I was kind of mind blown. I started like changing my life and other people's life around me. So if you could do that for me and change someone's life by showing them this video or showing them what I showed you, that'd mean a lot to me. I just don't want people to get surgery or get on medication because someone told them to do it, meaning a doctor. Yes, they're educated, but you could do a lot to prevent all that. So thank you again. It means a lot, and make sure you stay tuned for next video.